I came here 22 years ago to the RNCM as a student. And I came here with the sole intention of becoming a horn player. That's all I had wanted to do since about the age of 14. It's all I could do, it's what I needed to do, and there was not one question, no doubt in my mind that that is what I was going to do. And I did it. It wasn't straightforward. You know, there were failings, disasters, humiliations along the way, but I did it. I left college, I freelanced for a while, and then I achieved that holy grail of orchestral ambition, and I got a job. I got a job in the Halle here in Manchester, and I loved it. I loved every single minute of it, and I would have stayed there forever had it not been for one of my character flaws. And that is that I have to say yes. Because yes always leads to the unknown, to wonder and to adventure. You never know where yes will take you. It's not always good, it's not always a happy ending, but it's always interesting. So all the while I was playing, I was being asked to do other things. Do you want to teach? Yeah. I mean, that was obvious. I love teaching. I'd always wanted to. That made sense. Do you want to do some education work? Yes. So on my days off from the orchestra, I'd find myself sitting on the floor with 36 7-year-olds, banging out rhythms on our laps, changing the dynamic of a class. Sometimes changing the dynamic of a community, sometimes just creating for the sake of creativity. And each time realizing that that was changing lives. Now, from that, I was asked to do more. I was asked to present a concert. Do you want to do that? Yeah. It was a schools concert, and it just kept growing from there. A schools concert led to a family concert, led to a pops concert for adults, and eventually leading to working as a broadcaster, hosting live concerts on the radio. Now, I never meant any of that to happen. It was all an accident of saying yes. I was a horn player. This other stuff just seemed to take place. It just kind of snowballed. But what I realized is that increasingly that side of my work was as important as that thing, that coiled up piece of metal. And that was a shock, because my heart had always been a horn player. And ultimately I reached a point where I couldn't carry on doing both lots of work. I was going to burn out. I didn't have the space, the time to do everything the way I wanted to. I was doing it well, but it wasn't right. So I had to step back, I had to assess, I had to work out what to do. So the Halle couldn't have been more supportive. They gave me a sabbatical. I took 12 months to go and think about things, work out what I was going to do in these other directions. Now, with the theme of the unknown, of stepping into the unknown, this would be the obvious point to talk about these other career paths, but they weren't unknown. They were organic. They were just constantly in motion. And I'd been doing them for quite a long time when I reached this point. The unknown, the most difficult thing I had to do, was to stop playing the horn. That thing has been my companion since I was 9 years old. For 3/4 of my life, I have played that instrument and worn it like a badge. Tom the horn player. And I wore that badge with pride. I loved that association. Now, any instrumentalist will say that their instrument is a looking glass into their soul, and it is. It is a vehicle for expression to put into sound what you cannot say with words, because that's what music is. And I still love doing it. And the horn is such a powerful, such an intimate instrument. You hold it like this, your hand inside, you feel the warmth of the air, the vibration of the notes, the resonance in your chest. You hold this thing against your lips for 6 hours every day. And I had to stop. I had to step away because I simply didn't have the time to do this other work as effectively, as creatively as I wanted. It was the most difficult thing, the most liberating, and the most revelatory thing I've done in this whole extraordinary journey. Liberating because, though I am proud to be defined by that instrument, there is a negative that goes with that as well. Because as a musician, when we make a mistake on our instrument, we think that reflects on us. As a horn player, we split notes, and you go home with that burning inside, that self-loathing, the hatred, the shame that comes with that mistake, and I hadn't realized how heavily that sat upon me. So to walk away from those feelings, that was liberating. The revelation came when I realized how to listen, which sounds odd. I had worked in a profession for 15 years where listening is such a key part of it. But I was going to present concerts on the radio where orchestras were performing music that I had played 20, 30, 40 times, And yet I had never really heard. I knew how it went, I knew how it worked. Music had always moved me, but I had never passively consumed it. I was always actively involved in the performance, the creation of it. And I was amazed at how much it moved me, and I was increasingly aware of the effect it had on other people as well, more than I had allowed myself to realize before. I also started to be aware of those incredible skills that we as musicians have. Musicians that we don't always think about, that work on the subconscious, those skills that allow us to perform. Things like rhythm and pulse, listening and adjusting, skills that everyone else in the world looks upon with awe and envy. I work with business leaders who are fascinated by the functionality of the orchestra, the way we work as a team, the layers of leadership that go into performance. And we have these skills in abundance, but they operate just so far below the radar, we don't always know them. Now, at the end of this sort of detachment, I realized I had to play. I needed it. I needed those feelings, positive and negative, because they are inside me. They are who I am. But I couldn't go back to being in the orchestra all the time. I had to leave, and I now sort of, broadly speaking, combine my time playing and teaching, creating and presenting, but more evenly balanced. But the thing that binds all of that together is a need to communicate more effectively, more efficiently, what music is and how we can let it change us if we allow it. Now, a few years ago, my eldest brother, Ian, who is a hugely respected conservationist, gave a TED talk on his two passions, gorillas and elephants. It was called The Gardeners of the Forest. Now, elephants are interesting, you know, they spend their entire time eating. And everywhere they go to eat, they create furrows in the ground. They dig up the ground with their feet, their trunks, their tusks, and, you know, they have a diet rich in roughage, they poo. They poo a lot. Great big grow bags of poo, rich, fertile poo full of seeds. So everywhere an elephant goes, it creates life. It creates life in its own ecosystem, preserving the place it lives. And we, as musicians, could learn from that. You know, there are many parallels between mine and Ian's careers. He works with endangered species that are critically endangered. Mine, musicians, more cause for concern. But that idea of planting seeds everywhere we go is vital to our own ecosystem, our own environment. That we should be able to create seeds of wonder, of curiosity, of possibility, of ambition in everything that we do. But how do we do that? Well, obviously first we have to perform, we have to play, because that's what music is best, you know? And we have to never lose sight as a musician how much that can affect people. I always considered myself a fairly unblinkered musician, but it turned out I wasn't. I had lost sight of the life-changing possibilities of music simply to hear it. But the other thing that we can do as performers is to draw on those key skills, those core skills that we have inside us of pulse and rhythm to bring people together, to change people. Because music can. I mean, take something as simple as a pulse. You know, if I just had a pulse like this on the floor, and all of you felt that pulse as well, and you were suddenly compelled to stand up, you were compelled to stand up. And you felt that pulse. Just on the floor like that. It's there, isn't it? It's inside us. It's what makes us human. We all have a pulse. There's the pulse. Now, if we took that pulse, we could add rhythm. Simple rhythm. Your own name. So just with two fingers on your hand, tap me the rhythm of your name. Mine is simple. So it's just Tom Redmond, Tom Redmond. Your name, your rhythm, go. Good. Bit louder. Whole hands. Stop. Carry on. Okay. Two fingers. Pulse. Now, take that rhythm. This time, use your whole bodies. Use the floor, use your legs, use your chest, use your hand. Get that rhythm through your bodies and go. And on Redmond. Good. Pulse. Now vocalize that. Use your voices. Any sound, that rhythm. Ba, bip, bop, ba, bip, bop, ba, bip, bop, ba, bip, bop, ba. Stop. Body percussion. This side, carry on. This side, vocalize. When I say switch, switch. Pulse. Stop. Thank you very much.